Morning. Oh my gosh, tomorrow. I forgot to send you a link yesterday, 8th period.
Yeah, I was waiting.
I'm so sorry. I even wrote it down. Can I send you a link today?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That is my fault. All right, I'm making myself find a post-it note. Here we go. Bright orange. I'm so sorry. That was my fault. Look, hanging up that post-it note right now. We'll wait another minute here. I'm missing quite a few people still. Today's our last day online. That's exciting, right? Sorry. All right, so while we're waiting on people, missing work, please, please, please get that in, okay? Even tomorrow, I'll still take it tomorrow, but please start getting stuff turned in because some of you are in bad shape. Every little bit helps, so please get as much turned in as you can. Now we're getting some more people. Hey, Brayden, did you see my note to you this morning?
The note about
How to do that, problem number 12?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm not sure where everybody is, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and get started. Today's our last day online, guys. That's exciting, right? Monday, we'll be back together. Tomorrow you get a day off. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about squares. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you. We're gonna talk about squares. On Monday, when we come back, we're gonna try to do, we're gonna try to put all the shapes together. We thought that would be easiest if we were all together when we put the shapes back together, if we were in person, because then we can have paper. It'll be so much easier. So on Monday, that's what we're gonna be working on, is kind of putting all of these shapes together and see how they interrelate and all of that. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about squares. So let's get started on that. Squares have a lot of properties, but I feel in some ways that they're kind of the easiest because I don't feel like there's as much to think about. Like there's not as much variation because here's what's happening with squares. A square has all the properties of the rectangle. So it has the opposite sides are congruent, the 4 right angles, the diagonals are congruent and they bisect each other, but they also have all the properties of a rhombus where all 4 sides are congruent and the diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, so when you have a square, if this side is 5, that means all of my sides are going to be 5. Okay, if this here is, let's go 4, it's not really, but that's okay, we'll deal with it. If that's 4, then this has to be 4 and 4 and 4. You have a right angle. Okay, then with a rhombus, the diagonals bisected the angles. Well, if you have 90-degree angles and you bisect them all over the place, they're always going to be 45. So I feel like there's not as many numbers to worry about in a square because your angles are always 45. Everything is 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, all the way around. Okay, so in some ways, I feel like the squares are a little bit easier. So we're gonna look at a couple examples here. Here's one, okay, so we know my sides are congruent, all 4 sides are congruent. That means my expressions then have to be congruent. So 7x plus 13 has to equal 6x plus 7. So I need to subtract 6x from both sides. So I have x plus 13 equals 7. Then I need to subtract 13 from both sides. And I get x equals negative 6. Although that's not okay. There has to be a typo. I bet that was supposed to be a negative 13. Nonetheless, that's ultimately how you would do it. You'd set it equal to each other. Okay? All right, next one. So what do we know about when the diagonals intersect? The diagonals intersect to form a 90-degree angle. Okay, so this has to be a right angle. Now keep in mind, because my diagonals bisect all 4 corners, every angle here has to be 45. So again, this is where I don't feel like sometimes there's just not as much calculating, which is nice. Okay, the next one. So we just talked about how each one of these little angles is 45, right? So that means this here has to be equal to 45. I gotta subtract 15 from both sides. So I have 3x equals 30. Divide by 3 and I get x equals 10. All right, so that angle is 45 degrees. I set my expression equal to 45 then. Okay, remember our diagonals bisect each other. Okay, so we have 3x minus 8 equals x plus 12 because we know they're congruent. So if I subtract x from both sides, I have 2x minus 8 equals 12. If I add 8 to both sides, I get 2x equals 20. And divide by 2, I get x equals 10. Okay, so we're just using these properties over and over again. So this should look very familiar because this is what we did with rectangles and with rhombi, right? Okay, so everyone in the chat box, how much does this angle have to equal? Forget about the expression that's there. Don't worry about that. How many degrees is just this angle? Put it in the chat box. Good, it's 45, right? Good, nice job. All right, so it's 45 degrees. So that means that that expression, 5x, has to equal 45 degrees. So I need to divide both sides by 5, and I get x equals 9. All right, last one. Okay, on this one, we know that the diagonals bisect each other and they're all congruent, right? So again, these two expressions are going to be equal to each other. So I have 8 times the quantity of x plus 4 equals 38 plus 7x. All right, so this requires a little bit more algebra, but not bad, because we can distribute. We have 8x plus 32 equals 38 plus 7x. I can subtract 7x from both sides. I have x plus 32 equals 38. Subtract 32 from both sides, and I have x equals 6. All right, so those are your properties of your squares. Any questions on any of that? All right, so let me show you your homework. I made it a lot shorter today. I only gave you 6 problems, okay? It's a drag and drop, so you just drag it wherever it belongs. Okay, you can just set it right on top of the problem. All right, so you only have 6 problems. Keep in mind we have 90-degree angles. We know we have 45-degree angles. We know sides are congruent, and we know diagonals are congruent. Okay, any questions for me today? All right, go ahead and start working on that. Don't forget, if you have other missing assignments, please, please, please get them in. Okay, so as soon as you're done with this assignment, you can go today. So start working on that.